Hey guys, welcome back to my channel for an all new episode recap of today's Days of Our Lives, July 18th, 2025. So we start off with, Gabby and Rafe because Holly and Ari, they're missing and now the family's finding out. So Gabby is over there panicking as understandable, about where her daughter could be. And, they talk about if Holly's family knew, now that Nicole is in France and Maggie's in Bermuda, they're wondering whether or not they want to tell them. But Rafe said maybe it's best to wait until they have more information, you know and they talked about Marlena and Will and the rest of the Horton family. But they after everything they've gone through with John's passing and everything, it's gonna be a lot for them to find out what's going on. Rafe is trying to let Gabby be positive and just try to be calm and know that she will come back home. It's the second time she's been missing since she come to Salem. And she came back the first time, but now, Gabby's just wondering, maybe it's gonna be worse. So Rafe is just trying to keep her calm and, be positive about what's going on and to just kind of distract herself. He's gonna go on the ground looking for her, and he talked to Sean as well to really ID the perp that took Holly and Ari, as well as also looking at the surveillance footage and everything else, right? So he went on to the police station or to find out some more information while Gabby found a way to distract herself. So back in Chicago, Melinda finally comes with the food, and Sophia tells her, look, my mom tried calling me and Tate tried calling me, and I was panicking. I couldn't even answer the phone until Tate was actually going on. So she's telling Melinda about her second feelings, her guilt coming up because she ran into Leon Javier the other day with her son, and she saw him, and it took everything in her to just walk away. And, the thoughts of holding him, the guilty feelings of not being there and just leaving him a second time. So she's just contemplating whether or not she's making the right decision. Melinda understands because Melinda's been there before. And, Sophia asked her how long it took for her to really get over those feelings and know that she made the right decision. So Melinda said it took her a while. She can't really pinpoint when it stopped, but at some point she stopped tossing and turning and stop waking up and thinking about it, because she made the right decision for her. She knew she wasn't in the right condition or stability to raise her daughter, and she felt good about that decision. So at some point it made Sophia really affirm that this is the right decision for her, that she made it, because she wasn't at the right maturity level or stability level to really raise this child, and she's not ready to raise child. And the baby deserves parents that are actually ready to raise him well, right? So she said that, look, I was just worried about how Tate and my mom would be, and maybe they would want me to raise this child, and I'm just not ready for that, right? So Melinda reminded her that it was courageous of her to give birth alone by herself, and then to bring the baby to the fire station. That took a lot of courage, so she's not to second doubt herself. So anyway, she calls Tate at some point later in the episode, and she tells Tate that, Tate wasn't answering his phone because he was occupied, but she left a voicemail and said that, look, I'm in Chicago and I just had the baby. So I'm saying, really? You guys think that Tate is just going to believe that news? I don't know, but let's see. So Tate comes back. He actually did try to call Sophia, and he wasn't getting through there, and he said, like, I heard about you being in Chicago. Just give me a call back. We need to talk about this. You trying to give the baby up for adoption, and I'm not knowing nothing about it. So he left a voicemail, and then he went over to the pub with the cash in hand. Doug said that it needed to be in one of them meal paper bags. The perp is supposed to come in 10 minutes. So he tells Tate that he needs to come out of there. He doesn't want him in the middle of it. So Tate said, are you crazy? I don't want you to screw this thing up. So I'll be sitting right here and waiting. And I'm all for Tate doing that, because listen, Doug has screwed up everything thus far. And kudos, extra points for Tate today for stepping in and making sure that things are going to go as planned as they could be, right? So, anyways, Doug sees the person at the door, the loan shark at the door, and he goes out there with the paper bag, and Tate is just there acting like he's a customer with the menu in his hand. So he comes out there with the money to give to the loan shark, and he's like, hand it over. So he's like, I'm not gonna hand it over till I know that Ari and Holly are, rescued and they're back to normal, back here, home safe. So he's saying that, what do you think this is? So you gotta give me the money before that happens, and I need to count and make sure that it's all in there. So Doug ended up giving the paper bag over because, again, he has no backbone, no balls, no guts whatsoever to just stand up to this loan shark, right? So he gives it over, and Rafe was like, Williams, I need to talk to you. So the loan shark said, I thought I told you no cops. So anyways, Tate comes out and Tate tells Rafe, look, that's the guy that has Ollie and Ari captive. Go after him. So they start running after him while Doug is just sitting there looking like a damn stooge. So Doug, Tate, Rafe are at the station. They caught the loan shark. He's in questioning with Sean right now. So Rafe is like, why didn't you guys tell me from the beginning what was going on before this money was handed off? So Tate was saying that, he didn't want no cops or FBI involved. It would not go well for the girls, so he had to play it like that. So Rafe understood what it was, but then he also blamed Doug for not being honest from the beginning. And Doug is like, I'm sorry. So he's like, you're sorry? Like, because of your actions, Holly and Ari could be hurt. And it's like, if you just stayed away from them from the beginning, this wouldn't have happened, right? So now they're there waiting around while Sean is in there questioning the loan shark, right? So he did get a picture from Doug with Ari and Holly where they could possibly be at. So he doesn't know where they could be. He's trying to rack his head to wonder where they could be. So Rafe said, I'm going to get some information. So at some point, he did call Kat, or Kelly as her alias is, and he tells her that, look, I need your help, your analyst skills to help me find some people. So she's like, can it wait? Because she was with Chad at the moment. So he said, no, it's a family emergency, personal emergency. So she was able to ID the location and tell him like where they could be. So we're getting somewhere with this kidnapping story. So Sean is in there questioning the loan shark as to where the girls could be or to give up his boss's name because he has him on surveillance camera and he could be going away for a long period of time. So he needed to give him up. So it turns out he didn't give him the information that he needed. He comes out and tells Rafe and the boys. And Rafe is saying, you know what, let me go in there and rough him up. So he's like, no, we need to play it by the book and you're too emotionally involved. So he's like, that's my niece. So he's like, I understand that, right? I understand your connection, but we have to do it this way, right? So Rafe understands the gist of it. At some point, Tate said, you know what? Well, Sean said they needed to go home, and then, Tate said, contact me if anything. I have somewhere that I also needed to be. So they said they would contact him, and Sean asked Doug, look, like before you even leave, like, I need to talk to you. So Doug is saying, am I being arrested? So he's like, no, not at the moment, but I might have some questions for you, so do not leave town, right? So anyways, Rafe leaves off to find out what's going on with the girls' location. So hopefully we'll see them being rescued real soon. So Chad is taking his daughter. We finally get to see little Charlotte today because every time it's always Chad and Thomas around, right? What happened to Charlotte? Doesn't he have 2 kids? So he took her to gymnastics class. He ran into Felicity and Kat, right? Because Felicity is the counselor over there. So anyways, at least Charlotte will not be alone. She'll have a friend. So him and Kat begin to talk about the kids and their interest into gymnastics, other sports as well. And Kat was talking about her experience with the sport. I think it was t-ball or whatever. So at some point they start talking about maybe if she can pick them up after the class is done. So Chad was saying, no, that would be fine. So she's like, why would I ask it? Because you probably won't trust me to pick up your child. So he said it's not even that. It's just that Charlotte is used to routine, and if I change that, then she's gonna be upset. So she's like, you don't have to spare my feelings. So it's like, no, it's the truth. So anyways, he said, you know what, while we wait for the kids, let's have a coffee, right? So they're there sitting and talking, and they talk about the dinner that they're supposed to have with Felicity and that he wishes to have it. He takes a call from Leo, and Leo said that he has jury duty, and he's asking if Chad can write a letter to excuse him. So he's like, no, we can find another reporter to cover the trial. You have to, uphold your civic duty, right? So at that point, Rafe did call Cat under the guise of James Smith, and then Chad again looks at the phone like, who is this James guy, right? So Cat said that she had to take it, so she took the call, and then she came back to him and said that, we have to pick up, can you pick up Felicity and bring her to work? So he said, yes, I can do that, right? So she said, like, I will pick her up later after work. So at some point he took the money, asked Felicity if she wants to join them for some frozen yogurt. So she said, no, I have to get to work, right? So Xander was there with his daughter again at work, and just talking to her about how he's going to be a present father, and that they're going to get to know each other over the next couple of weeks, and that once he has full custody, that it's going to be better. I don't know what you mean by better, because a child needs both parents, Xander. So I don't know what you're trying to do. But anyways, he said that he's going to make sure that there's a nice nursery, and that he will not be at work the whole day, and he'll be coming home every night. He's going to be the father of the year and all of that. But I'm just saying, I like you, Xander, but I don't think it's a great idea what you're trying to do, right? So anyway, he said that he was waiting on Gabby, I guess, for some meeting, but Gabby's not showing up on time, so he's about to bring her for a walk. So Gabby runs in, and Gabby's apologizing for being late. So Xander said, save it, you can just talk to my assistant. So she said, it's about my daughter, she's missing. So Xander, is saying like, what happened. So she tells him what's going on. So he's sorry to hear that. So he's like, why are you even here? Why aren't you, knocking the pavement trying to find out where she is? So she said that she wanted to, but her brother advised her not to get involved with police business and let the police handle it. So Xander said that, look, you know, CLMPD, honestly, they can't save a case. If any case is solved in CLM, it's out of sheer luck. And I agree with him, because honestly, they have not knocked down a case thus far. And every time they arrest somebody, the person is always innocent, right? So he knows how it goes. And anyways, he said that he would help her to, he would put out a ransom for Ari. So Gabby's appreciative, and Gabby's like, thank you for being nice to me. So he's like, yeah, no problem. I'm a father as well. Maybe you need to go home and rest. So she's like, honestly, I can't even rest, because at this point my daughter's out there missing, and it would be no use to me, right? So they hug, and I really am appreciating this scene between them. Honestly, I would love to, see them together. But yes, there was a part where Felicity called Tate and said that she found Holly's ring at gymnastics class. So that was really it for the end of the episode. Comment below your thoughts on today's episode. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to my channel. I will see you guys next week. Have a good weekend.